and to reassert of the Almighty, the Creator, the Master, and the Omnipotent and Omnipresent. In this house of Allah, we have assembled to reiterate our commitment to the leadership of Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was sent as a mercy to mankind. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, and who alone convinced us that only through following the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the guidance and the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can achieve success in this life and the life hereafter. And we have also assembled here to remind ourselves that this life that has been given to us as a gift by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will indeed be taken away one day, regardless of our age and regardless of our health. And a day will come when each one of us will be given the book that we have been writing in this world. اقرأ كتابك كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك حسيبا. Read whatever you have written in this life with your actions and with your words, and your destiny and the final destination will be determined on the basis of what you have said and what you have done. And here in this house of Allah, we also come to admonish each other and to advise each other that it is the path of taqwa, the path of responsibility and the path of God consciousness that alone would lead us to success in this life and the life hereafter. Without developing the fear of Allah, without developing the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without developing a commitment to the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we cannot achieve success in this life or the life hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 75 places in the Quran talks about the idea of shukr, which is loosely translated as gratefulness or thankfulness, even though the meaning of shukr is much larger than gratefulness and thankfulness, and we will come to that. He describes himself, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَاكِرٌ عَلِيمٌ. Describing himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he is the one who rewards those who acknowledge him and he knows them. فَكَانَ اللَّهُ شَاكِرًا عَلِيمًا. At another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, فَاسْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. You remember me and I will remember you. And you be grateful to me and thankful, and not be like those who reject me or who do not offer their thankfulness to me. In the word of Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam, he tells Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam, اعملوا آل داود شكرا. Be constantly grateful and thankful to me, O the children of Dawood. Then he tells us, وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Referring to the fasting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that one of the purpose is to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to ensure that His words remain supreme so that you could be grateful. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Develop the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that you could be grateful. وَسَنَجْزِ الشَّاكِرِينَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds the believer that He alone will reward those who are shakireen, who are grateful, who are thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِعَالَمِ بِالشَّاكِرِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone knows who are the people who are grateful. And then He tells and reminds us, وَهُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ خِلْفَةً لِمَنْ أَرَادَ أن يذكر أو أراد شكورا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the turning of days and nights so that we could remember Him and we could also be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then He tells us, Summa ba'asnakum, referring to the people of Israel, Jewish people, the Bani Israel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, La summa ba'asnakum min ba'di mawtikum la'allakum tashkurun, that He revived you after the death so that you could be grateful to Him. Inna fi zalika la'ayatin likulli sabirin shakur. Sabbarin shakur, that for everyone who have this quality of patience and the quality of gratefulness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indeed gives His signs to those people. Wallahu shakurun halim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who basically recognizes the gratefulness of the people, and He is very kind, very merciful, and very compassionate. He reminds us, Zurriyata man hamalna ma'anu innahu kana abdan shakura, that the Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam and his progeny was the one you belong to, because he was one of the greatest thankful person to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then He also tells us, Man yashkuru fa innama yashkuru li nafsi. This gratefulness, that thankfulness, that quality of thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is indeed for our own benefit. But then He tells us also that inna hadaynahu sabila imma shakiran aw imma kafura. He has shown us the way. He has shown us the path. It is up to us either to reject Him and be grateful to Him. But then He also recognizes وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسَ لَا يَشْكُرُونَ, that the majority of the people are not grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He also tells us that وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسَ لَا يَشْكُرُونَ. And then He also tells us وَجَعَلَكُمْ وَالسَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ قَلِيلًا مَا تَشْكُرُونَ. He has given us the faculty of observation, the faculty of thinking, and the faculty of analysis and understanding, yet majority of the people do not thank Him, are not grateful to Him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes shukr as one of the most important aspects of our commitment to the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that shukr is not for one day, it is a 24-hour effort on the part of the believers. Yesterday, we had the Thanksgiving Day in this country. And it is a beautiful festival. Because if we look at the original document that was signed by George Washington, it really transcribes and translates some of the verses of the Quran in that document. Perhaps not many of you know that in the early days, when the constitution of this country was being written, there was a small group of intellectuals, including James Adams, including many others, who were assembling in Boston on a weekly basis. And they used to have a copy of the Quran, which was the personal copy of George Washington. And for almost a year, they reflected and they read that Quran, that group of intellectuals. So obviously when they have learned and read the Quran in such detail, it is quite possible that they might have taken ideas from the Quran in many of the decrees and many of the laws that were implemented and were introduced in this country. So the first document that talks about giving thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that it is the duty of all nations